Good morning to all.
Mine, sir.
Today I will be handling biological data formats. I know that this is also a part of the seminar topics, but still I will be addressing this topic. Uh, you know that biological data. We have already discussed the different types of biological data and the uh, volume of biological data that is generated, etc. And a brief account of the different types of data and data mining concepts were already discussed in the previous sessions. When we come to the big data, as we discussed, the generation of big data actually begins by 2002 and forward. Big data actually it refers to uh, data sets so large or complex that they are difficult to process during using these traditional data processing applications. So you need large computational power and such algorithms and tools for analyzing the data. This picture that is shown on the screen is already discussed in one of the previous classes. Actually, it shows the transition of these analog data into digital data by 2000. From starting from 2000 onwards, there is an enormous or a tremendous growth of digital storage and the data in especially in biology and worldwide in every field of science or wherever not only science, wherever such data is available, there is a trend in the digital form of data and growth of digital form of data, which creates a big data. Even if it is banking or census information or weather forecasting information or even biological different forms of biological data that grows enormously from 2000 onwards, which generates the big data. And then main challenges include analysis of the data, capture of the data, curation, means adding further descriptions of the data and verification of the data, then uh, uh, searching the databases for retrieving information, sharing of this information, storage and transfer of information, visualization of such information, and overall information privacy. Nowadays, you know that it is also a matter of concern worldwide. So these are major challenges when we come into different forms of big data. And when we discuss about the big data or the volume of the data that is generated in biology, the major or the complete human, the major step is the development of the human genome project. Okay, the complete human genome actually it was published in 2004 and released by these International Human Genome Consortium. The publication was in Nature in 2004. The PMID of that publication is also shown. That's PubMed ID. Then the international consortiums such as HapMap or 100 Genomes and ENCODE all are collecting large amounts of data about the human genome. So the accumulation of data during these large, say, 17 years in the biological field is that much uh, larger. Now, the NCBA, that is National Center for Biotechnology Information of the US, they collects the complete genome sequences of many organisms. So their database, NCBA database, contains complete genome sequences of now as of the date, you can see that 60,696 genomes, complete genomes were sequenced, and that information, that data is available in the NCBA database, which include uh, about more than 60,000, 16,000 eukaryotes, 32,000 prokaryotes, viruses about that is about 42,000 and more. then plasmids 29,000, organelles 19,000. So that complete genome of different groups of prokaryotes, viruses, eukaryotes, plasmids, organelles, etc., were completely sequenced, and now it is available in the NCBA database. The current version of the GenBank database is actually they periodically update with additional information added periodically. And GenBank current release is 242.0 that is produced in February 2021. It contained more than 12 trillion nucleotide bases. So the base number of bases present in that database nowadays is 12 trillion. And also, you can say that 2 billion sequences, complete sequences were present in that NCBA database. So that indicates the volume of the data, so that we are actually addressing uh, the access of this or storage and access of such a huge volume of information. So this is the actual quantity of the biological data now, especially the sequence related data that is present in the NCBI database. So usually the traditional methods, as we discussed, traditional methods of storage and retrieval of this data is not useful when you are addressing such big data. Just like the story of the blind who see this elephant. Eh? So according to one's own perspective or where we are looking the data, that the understanding of the data, if it is such a big data, then traditional methods cannot see the overall picture. So just like that of the blind man see the elephant, that you can see that example. So there is another case of Plato's allegory of the cave. That is a previous publication, and the allegory of the cave actually it mentions that there is a picture depicted by Plato, in which some prisoners were actually kept inside the cave, and there is a wall separating them from the other part of the cave, and there are some uh, some shapes which is shown, and there is a fire, and from the fire you can see that there is a reflection of these images that is shown here on the wall, and the prisoners were seeing that and believing that this is true. So by accident or by any chance, if one of the personnel come out and understand what actually it is not something actually happening and it's only an image, and then he can come out and see the entire world. And to see the entire world, or to see what is present the outside, to get the overall picture of the scenario, you need to come out of that confined space into which you are trapped, and then you have to look look outside for getting the entire picture. And if this person who escaped might have he came back and report them, they might not have believed in this one. Okay, he may be depicted as an insane person or something, so that nobody will believe him. And to get a better understanding of the overall nature of the data, you need computational algorithms and structured way of storing and presenting the data, and computational tools for analyzing the data and getting the overall picture. Then also the peoples may not be able to understand with their own human limitations. They cannot understand the overall picture. So this is about the nature of the data and the requirement of the different computational tools for analyzing such large volumes of the data, which the human brain or which the humans cannot handle and understand using their traditional methods of data processing and analysis, data storage, processing, and analysis. So to store such large volumes of the biological data, you require various data formats, because we have various types of the data, and for each and every type of the data, according to your requirement, you require some standard formats for saving that data. In molecular biology, several types of data are available. Among the most common are sequences. You have DNA, RNA, and protein sequences, which will be represented as a single letter codes of the nucleotides or amino acids. So the string representing the nucleotides and amino acids, amino acid composition of the DNA, RNA, and protein actually constitutes the sequence data. Then there are annotations. Annotations are collection of words with the controlled vocabulary that describes the property, function, and process in which the molecule is involved. So they are actually descriptions added to the data. For example, if you are presenting single letter code of the sequence, that is a sequence data. And if you are giving further annotations like from where it is obtained, what is the biological function, and what is the locus, and such additional information. So if you are giving such descriptions using such words, controlled vocabulary used for science, you can like biological activity, enzyme activity, domains, motifs, anything, any such controlled vocabulary that's related to your field can be used for describing that sequence, the nature of the sequence, from where it is obtained and what it is doing. So that can be given as annotations or descriptions. So that's another form of data. Then that also you want to store in the database. If you are submitting a sequence, along with that you require annotations, and your data format requires provisions for annotations. Then there are structure that constitutes 2D and 3D representations of the molecules, describing how it is organized in space, spatial orientation, two-dimensional or three-dimensional. For example, a structure file of a protein, three-dimensional structure file of a protein. That is actually structural information which is represented in a three-dimensional, which actually describes the three-dimensional or spatial orientation of the molecules. So that type of data is also stored in biological database. So biological data types basically include sequences, their descriptions or annotations, and the three-dimensional molecular structures of the molecules, etc. These are the common biological data formats, file formats. And flat files were not specifically biological. It is we'll see what is a flat file. Flat file is one type of file that in which you can store the data. Whereas FASTA, GenBank, EMBL, ABI, PDB, MDL-MOL, BAM-SAM, etc. They are commonly used biological data file formats in which you can store the information. Flat files were alternatively referred to a flat file database or a text database. Actually, it is a text file. .txt extension file can be a flat file. And a flat file is a file of data that does not contain links to other files, or it is a non-relational database. It doesn't have any links to other external data. So it's actually everything described in that file is self-limiting. So it doesn't have any other external links which refers to an external database or a source. A good example of a flat file is a single text-only file or a file with a .txt extension that contains all the data needed for a program, and that is often separated by a kind of delimiter. A delimiter may be a comma, a tab key, or a pipe sign, etc. For example, in this case, the pipe sign is shown here. So this symbol is in the keyboard is a pipe sign. So Bob, that is a name, and 123 street is the address, the first part of the address. This is the second part of the address. This may be the salary or wage. So in that case, these different fields of name, first address 1, address 2, and salary, etc. Were separated by a delimiter, by a pipe sign. And simply you can write all the name, address, and salary in a single text file and save it as a .txt file. That constitutes a flat file. It is a non-relational database in which the first field will be, once it is defined and given to a computer, the first field can be attributed to the name field, second is address 1, third one is address 2, and the next one is some kind of amount, maybe a salary amount or a wage amount. And simply you can write it in a text file, or on the right side you can see that this is an ID, this is a name, and this is a team. And this type of file saving in a notepad with a .txt extension constitutes a flat file. And another example is you can say download your Google contacts. So you want to save the contacts information from Google. You can either use it as .csv file, which may be similar to a text file in a table format, or you can download it as a text file with a flat file with some kind of delimiters, a comma limited or a tab delimited. This is a tab key. For example, instead of a pipe sign, you can use a comma or a tab key in the keyboard. This is a tab. After pressing the tab key, this space will be inserted. So a tab key or a pipe sign or say a comma at that position will separate the different fields of the database, and the computer can easily recognize the different fields, and accordingly it can read the data. So that type of files were flat files in which everything is contained within the file. There is no external links referring to any other external database or other source. Now the biological data file formats, basically sequence data. When we come to the sequence file formats for biological data like DNA, RNA, RNA and protein, this can be stored and presented as raw sequences. Raw sequences, for example, that is a data without description. We'll see in the next slide. And the FASTA format is another format in which one line of description is added to that sequence. And another one is a GenBank record. There is a lot of detailed description or annotation that is provided. So the sequence information, there are three different standards for representing the biological data format. The first standard is a raw data sequence. Second one is a FASTA sequence with one line description. And the third one is GenBank record with a lot of description added. Let's see one by one. In this box, you can see the sequence information of a DNA is represented as the single letter codes. So this is a representation of a raw sequence of a DNA sequence. And whereas the second box shows a protein, a raw DNA, raw protein sequence is represented in that box. There is no descriptions on that one. So in the text box below is an example of a raw DNA sequence. Just 4 different nucleotides of that DNA of one particular DNA strand is shown there. No information on the gene or the organism the sequence came from, its a source or who discovered the sequence or who sequenced that one, and where it is published, in which journal it is published. No descriptions were added to that sequence, and that's the same case as that in the case of protein, which is shown below. So that means raw sequence doesn't have any information. It is just a sequence of information written linearly in the single letter codes of the nucleotides or proteins. So that's a raw sequence. Now the next one is the FASTA file format. The FASTA file format, it is actually a file format with one line description. So in the first line, all the FASTA files, it starts with a greater than sign. Then the greater than sign, actually it indicates it is a command line or it's a description line. As you know, when you type something in a notepad or a Word, a single line, it's not actually this is line 1, this is line 2, this is line 3. It is not like that. So a new line in a computer is created only when you press the carriage return or enter key. So until then it is a continuous line. So in this representation of a FASTA file, there is only 2 lines. The first line starting with a greater than sign, and there is a description. Then at this point, you press the carriage return or the enter key in the keyboard, and then you type the continuous sequence. So that ends here. So this is a continuous sequence represented in a single line, second line, and this is the first line. So in every FASTA file, actually there are only 2 lines. The first line is a command line with starting with a greater than sign, and that contains a description. The second line is a continuously written. Maybe it is a 1,000 or 10,000 or a 1 lakh basis continuously written, but still it's a FASTA file, a single line. Okay, and in the case of a protein sequence also, it's a representation of the first line command and the second line sequence. So that is the normal format of a FASTA file. And usually such descriptions include, these command lines include the GI, or the GI number is GenBank identifier number, then GenBank reference number, and the description of the sequence and the organism from which it is isolated, and such type of any type of descriptions can be given there. Or you type your own description. If it is a sequence that is generated by you and it is not yet submitted, you can write whatever typed after this greater than sign in this line will be treated as a comment. So any description can be given by that. You can type your own description in that line, but the second line after pressing the enter key, that should be the sequence. So that's the normal format of a FASTA file. So let's see what some more descriptions about the FASTA file format. FASTA format is a text-based format for representing either nucleotide sequences or a peptide sequence or a protein sequence in which nucleotides or amino acids are represented using single letter codes. The format also allows the sequence names and comments to precede the sequence. So the format allows the sequence allows for a sequence name, which is actually written. For example, this is the name of the sequence and the comments preceding that one. Okay. The format also allows for sequence names and comments related with the sequence in the first line. The format originates from the FASTA software package. FASTA is another algorithm. We will see it in the later sessions. So this format actually originates from the FASTA software package, and this is actually the format which is given as an input to the FASTA software package. So FASTA, this name actually originates from the FAST algorithm. That's a software or algorithm that is used for alignment. But has now become a standard in the field of bioinformatics. So FASTA program for sequence comparison is different from the FASTA format. FASTA format is the format of the file in which the file is prepared for analysis of the FASTA. Now, this is a very commonly used format for storing our sequence information. Most basic and widespread sequence format is FASTA format. The first line is a description line, the description line that, or the command line that starts with the character greater than sign, and the preceding line contains a sequence. So the second line is a sequence line, and it is useful for all sequence analysis programs, and most of the bioinformatics tools nowadays accept sequences in the FASTA format. So this is an example of a FASTA sequence where the first line is the command line starting with greater than sign, and next one is the sequence line. So as I mentioned, it is the greater than sign which marks the command line, followed by a GI, that is the GenBank identifier number or reference number to the database, and there is a ref field, that is a reference for the version. Usually such sequence will be periodically revised with version numbers, like say if somebody revises this after 6 months, then they will revise the sequence and place 2 instead of this one. So this sequence version number is the revised version number, or for example, after further experimentation, if somebody revises that sequence with some slight corrections, then that corrected sequence will be provided with another version number. So this is the reference version number, and next one is the description line. For example, this is the hemoglobin beta chain from Bos taurus, that is the organism from which is isolated. Such descriptions will be provided in the first line or the command line, and the second one is the sequence. So nearly all sequence based programs treat this command line as a command, or anything after in the first line after this greater than sign, that will be treated as a command and it will be excluded from the sequence. And a few sequence analysis programs expect sequence to be strictly in FASTA format. If you are not providing it in FASTA format, many programs will not accept it as an input. So usually accepted or commonly accepted format by many analysis programs is FASTA format with first command line and the second sequence information. So this is one of the sequences represented from in FASTA format from the NCBI database. So here you can see that there is a FASTA option from a pull-down menu. There are different representation. Different, for example, you can show it in the GenBank format or FASTA format, or different types of formats will be provided in the GenBank interface. So if you are looking for another type of format, then you can change it from this pull-down menu. Since it is selected as FASTA, the FASTA type file will be listed here. If you are selecting it as a GenBank format, then GenBank format will be, or another type of, with further a lot of other descriptions will be added to this GenBank format if you are changing it into that file type. Now, this is another type of file in which different FASTA or multiple FASTA entries can be represented in a single file. For example, in this case, three sequences were represented sequentially in the same file. In the same .fasta file, you can have the first command line, second line with the second and the first sequence, and the third line is that of the command line of the next sequence or the second sequence, and the fourth line is the actual sequence of the second gene. And the fifth line is the command line of the third sequence, and the sixth line, that is the sequence of the third sequence. So similarly, you can continuously write as many sequences as you like in the same file, and that can be given as an input for basically multiple sequence alignment programs. For example, in the case of a multiple sequence alignment, you require many sequences. That means more than two sequences to be compared. So usually, if you are comparing two sequences, then you require only two. But if you are looking for multiple sequences to be compared simultaneously, then you may require such files which contains multiple sequences as input in the same file. So that can be prepared alternatively with the command line sequence. You can prepare such files in FASTA format. So this is another format of the FASTA file with the multiple entries. So the second category that we want to discuss is GenBank format. Quite possibly the standard in sequence file format. So this is the most standard sequence format for storing the sequence information. For sequence analysis programs, the FASTA is the best one because there is no further descriptions, only the command and sequence is provided. Whereas if you are looking for other informations, a lot of informations are annotations from that sequence, then GenBank format is the suitable one. And the GenBank format is widely used by public databases such as NCBI. GenBank file format is quite flexible and allows annotations, comments, and references to be included within the file. And the file is plain text and thus can be read with a text editor. So you can read it. You don't require any specialized computer programs to read that one, to read and understand that one. So everything is written in a human readable format. So GenBank files often have the file extension .gb or .genbank. So that is like .doc or .docx or .pdf, just like that of the file extension of a specific type of a file. The GenBank file format files will be stored with an extension of .gb or .genbank. So this is an example of a GenBank file. You can see there are a lot of descriptions like locus, definition, accession, version, keywords. So there are different titles for the information. And this information can be treated as different annotations which is added to that GenBank file format. See what are the different descriptions that is provided. So GenBank record is actually background on, it also added a lot of background information on the sequence. So beginning from the beginning of the GenBank file contains the background information. So the first part is the background information, and such as a source of the biological molecules, that means from what organism it is obtained, and the scientist who discovered that sequence. That type of background information is the first part of the GenBank file. And this is the locus, that is on the left side of the file are keywords indicating the details present in the file. So these are the definitions. Now, the accession number and GI number is provided. So this is a version accession number and GenBank identifier number. And this is the organism from which it is isolated. And there is information on the discoverers, that is authors who discovered the sequence and publication information. For example, these are the authors who discovered the sequence, and this is the title of the publication in which it is published, and the journal in which it is published is the Proceedings of National Academy of Science USA, volume 82, and in 1985. So this type of information were actually background sequence information provided in the GenBank. Now the remaining portion, actually the features portion. So the features that include the source or the position length of the sequence means if it is a large genome, some portion, for example, starting from an entire chromosome sequence 1 to 1705. So that is the, for example, this is the organism, and the entire sequence is of is that of the genomic DNA, and from in that genomic DNA sequence 1 to 1705 is the region under consideration here, and the description about that region, maybe it's a gene, specific gene, and that region is properly annotated. So actually it may be a portion of the entire chromosome, but starting from which portion to which portion, this sequence represented, that is the source which is shown here. So this is about the exon regions which is present. The exons and intron features were represented here, and CDS is a coding sequences or conserved domain sequence, that is a coding sequences are presented here. Now this is the amino acid from translation, possible amino acid translation of the protein, that is also shown here. And this is the accession number of that amino acid sequence. GenBank identification number of the accession number is shown here. And this is biological information. It is in case for example, is a fibroblast. Cell type is fibroblast and tissue type is skin. So that type of biological information is provided there. So these type of features were also given as a part of the GenBank entry. Now finally there is a sequence information, the actual biological sequence. So that actual biological sequence were usually represented with say this is starting from the first base to 60th base, 61 to 120. So they will be represented, each line will be represented as a fragment of 60. So continuously, if you are having 2000 or 3000 bases in that sequence, continuously it is written in the same format. For example, there are 10 sequences in each column, and you have 6 such columns, which constitutes 60 bases in a single line. So their sequences will be numbered, and it will be easy for you to locate the position of that sequence from these numbers. Okay, and this is how a GenBank entry is presented. For example, it contains what are the regions. GenBank record the background information about that sequence is provided. Different features of the sequence is provided, and the actual sequence is also provided in the GenBank. And this two forward slashes actually they represent the end of the file. So this is how that sequence is represented in the GenBank. So the next type of file is EMBL format. EMBL actually they follow the same similar format as that of the GenBank, and it is also used for storing such genome sequences and their annotations. It is something similar. It is in a similar format as that of the GenBank file, EMBL file. So this is the EMBL format. An example of the EMBL format is written. And you can see that they also contain the basic informations or background informations and the features of the sequence and the actual sequence. So, but slight differences will be there. For example, instead of say in this case they are mentioning intron, exon, and the titles will be different. Okay, where when we come to EMBL format, they will be using other coding part, another style of coding for that description part. So anyway, it's slightly different, but the basic features are same. It also contains the background information and features. For example, this portion, initial portion is the background information, and the remaining portion is the features, and this is a translated protein sequence, and this is the actual DNA sequence. So that type of EMBL format is also used for storing such a DNA and protein sequence informations. The next category of the file format is the PDB format. The PDB file format is used to store both sequence information, but more importantly, it stores three-dimensional structure information. PDB also stores some amount of some type, means a limited quantity of this sequence information is also there, but basically PDB is a structured database, that's a three-dimensional structured database. This information can be used to visualize the crystal structure of a given molecule, typically a protein. So three-dimensional molecule, and of course there are PDB files which shows B helix of the DNA, or DNA or the nucleotide segment can also be represented as a three-dimensional file or a PDB file. So it's not always proteins, but anything can be, even a chemical or a drug molecule that can also be represented as a PDB file with structure. So that doesn't mean that a PDB file always contains proteins. Typically it is protein. Most of the informations were related with the three-dimensional structures of the protein, but a PDB file contains other structure related informations. Basically a PDB file is a coordinate file which describes the position of each and every atom of that molecule. So whether it is a protein or DNA or any other, PDB is actually a structural coordinate file. So by reading that coordinates from that file, a computer simulation program can place the corresponding atom in the corresponding three-dimensional space and create that model. So that's how the PDB file will work. For example, in a PDB file, there are header informations which describes the nature of the structure, and previously we mentioned the GenBank header file or the background information. There also we have the basic descriptions of authors who published it, etc. Similarly, in case of PDB also we have basic informations, the nature of the sequence, nature of the structure, from where it is obtained, who is the author, who determined the structure, what is the method of determination, for example, X-ray crystallography, NMR, etc. So a lot of other related informations were provided in the header part. And another part is the atom information, in which each and every atom of that protein, they will have a three-dimensional XYZ coordinate. So the position, three-dimensional XYZ coordinate position of each atom will be represented in that atom information. So this is actually a zoomed version of this part, and you can see that this is the atom number. So each atom is serially represented with an atom number. The atom type is also shown there. So the amino acid is actually leucine. The atom is as a part of leucine, and this is the A chain of the protein, and this is the residue number 151, the residue. So the 151, the residue of that protein, which is the A chain of a peptide, A chain of the peptide, with, and the 151, the position is a leucine, and this is the corresponding atom, and this is the XYZ coordinate of that atom. So this atom is placed at this particular XYZ coordinate. So when the simulation program or a three-dimensional visualization program creates this structure by reading this file, it's not actually an image. Okay, you had to see that when we were talking about a PDB file, which is a structure file. Structure files were not actually images. Of course, you can have a graphical representation, but it is not an image. It's only coordinates file which describes the nature of the atoms and the position of each and every atom in the three-dimensional space. That will be written in the PDB file. So by reading this information, the software will understand that this is the A chain of a particular protein, and the 151, the position amino acid is leucine, and the corresponding atom in the leucine, this particular atom in the leucine molecule should be placed in this XYZ coordinate. So that atom will be incorporated at that position while creating the three-dimensional model. That's how the PDB files will work. So the next category is MDL. MDL file, while not technically containing sequence data, the MDL file format is worth including in this list. The MDL mol file contains information regarding small molecules with the specs being quite similar to that of the PDB file format. So MDL format is basically used for example, drug designing and or the ligand designing, etc., in which the chemical structures of a molecule can be drawn using a software, in which each and every atom can be represented, and that position of each and every atom of that molecule or small chemical molecules, small molecules, which will be basically they may be considered as drugs. If you want to change an existing drug by adding some atom or removing some atom, you can do it in a computer environment using such a structure drawing programs, and that can be created as a three-dimensional model and stored in an MDL file. So they are actually small molecules like ligands or drug molecules, and they are actually chemical structures, and that chemical structures can be stored in an MDL file with their sequence coordinates or the atom coordinates stored similar to that of the PDB file format. So that file format is a MDL. MDL mol files contain information regarding 2D and possibly 3D molecular structures such as atom type and atom connectivity and the three-dimensional position of the atom, etc. So that is another type of file. So this is an example of the file in which each and every position XYZ coordinate position of the atom is shown. So this is H, the atom is H, N or C, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, etc. Each atom at which position and which XYZ coordinate position needs to be incorporated with that atom, etc. will be marked in that MDL file. So the next one is ABI file. ABI is a binary file format containing Sanger sequencing and trace data. So it's actually an output of a sequencing information from large Sanger sequencing instruments. The format is used by sequencing facilities and requires special readers or such software programs required for reading that data. It is not in a human readable format. Okay, so it requires usually large computer softwares or good quality computer sequence reading programs is required for reading and analyzing that data. And you can see that special readers capable of reading in the file format to view and trace data and extract the sequence. So if you want to extract the sequence, you require special softwares like sequence reading programs. The file format is difficult to parse given its binary nature and the complexity of the spec. So usually, previously described FASTA and GenBank entries were usually text files. You can read it as a text, plain text, human readable. They are actually human readable. Whereas binary files, for example, an exe file in a computer, you cannot read the content of the exe file. If you are looking into that, there will be squares and stars or asterisks or something, or some symbols will be represented in that type of file, because it is actually a binary file, which is not it is represented as zeros and ones, and there is no English language or human readable expression on that one. So that type of binary files were usually read using a computer program, not by humans as such, because it is not actually in the form of a normal language like English or something. Okay. So it's a binary language. So they are just like exe files, which is actually a binary form. The ABI file format is a binary form, which represents the sequencing data and the traces information. Usually, maybe it is a peak. Various peaks of an instrument output will be there. So by interpreting each peak in this output, the software will position. For example, this peak corresponds to A. That is actually that can be detected only by the software, not by just by looking into the sequence or the peak which is produced from the data. You cannot basically assume what is the base that should be placed here. So such type of ABI sequences or binary file formats which created as the output of sequencing instruments will be read and analyzed, and the sequence information will be extracted using specialized software programs. Now another category is BAM or SAM files, and this format contains next generation sequencing data. And when we come to the sequencing data, next generation sequencing data, For example, if you are giving a sample for a sequencing using next generation instruments, they will maybe generate GBs or TBs of data. So you cannot go through the sequence data using any manual analysis methods, because the entire a single sequencing effort will create GBs or TBs of data of sequence information generated from that one. And to analyze that data, you require such computational programs. Otherwise, you cannot even access or go through this entire volume of the data. Okay. The BAM is a binary file format, while SAM file contains the same information but in text-based format. So just like that of the previous one, ABI format, the binary formats were not actually readable by humans, whereas text-based file can be opened and read. So it contains the same information, but BAM is in binary format, SAM is in text format. And these files can be analyzed and viewed by several free software tools, such as command line open source tool like SAM tools, and other user interface based or graphical interface based IGV, etc. There are some of the tools that can be used. They are free tools that can be used for analyzing these data. Both the BAM and SAM formats contain not only the sequence data for next generation sequencing reads, but also have the capability of storing alignment data of those reads to a reference sequence database. So there are a lot of other information which is provided in that data. So basically these are next generation sequencing data storage formats, which requires specialized programs for analysis and interpretation of the data. So that's about BAM and SAM. And another one is SFF format. This format specifies a binary file which contains next generation sequencing information. And the name stands for a standard flowgram format and contains the actual flow information used on several next generation sequencers, including Iron Torrent or Roche 454. So these type of different sequencing instruments like Iron Torrent sequencing or Roche sequencing sequencers, they generate SFF format. So different types of, there are a lot of next generation sequencing methods are there. Some methods may generate SAM BAM files, or some other methods like Iron Torrent or Roche, they may be for generating their sequence data or sequence information in SFF format. So SFF actually stands for standard flowgram format. So this is one SFF software interface in which the sequence information, each read, because sequences were usually the next generation sequencing instruments will break the fragments, and each fragment may be read as a multiple segments. For example, this particular read or the fragment that is sequenced is 559. The next fragment, next sequence is 291. So this is the length of the sequences that is produced. So in a single next generation sequencing instrument, there may be millions or billions of sequences that is generated in GBs or TBs of the data. So each sequence needs to be properly interpreted by the instrument by analyzing the graph and the peaks, and the sequence will be interpreted. And these sequences need to be again joined finally, which is known as sequence assembly. So to construct the entire sequence of that chromosome or that genome, you require assembly of these different fragments which is generated. Maybe millions or billions of fragments that is generated by the sequence instrument needs to be individually read, and finally overlapping segments needs to be arranged in a program for assembly, sequence assembly, and then you have to construct the complete picture of the genome. And such type of works were done using such softwares. So this SSF format is another format for next generation sequencing data analysis and storage and analysis, and this is another category. So this comes to the end of the different biological data formats, and you will be using many of them like GenBank formats or FASTA formats for your analysis in the practical sessions. Is there any questions? Okay.